Hoka, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of September the 15th, 2023. How does Panzer Kunst compare to other martial arts? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek, and I am in Linville, North Carolina right now. And with us from Fountain, Colorado is Lee.
Hey,
How's it going, Lee?
not too bad. So far, so good.
Cool. And from the Shires in the UK, we got Bloody. How's it going, Bloody?
Good evening. Good evening. Not bad at all.
Cool. So how are you guys doing? What's going on, Lee? What's happening down in Fountain?
Hello?
Am I still
Not
here?
a whole lot. Hello?
I think I closed it by accident.
Oh,
Didn't I cut off mid-sentence?
Oh, that's all right. We're pretty wide open here. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Lee, you were telling me that the temperature there in Colorado has dropped quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, right?
yep. Down to about 14 centigrade.
Oh, cool.
We had a lovely day here. I've just been working loads of days in a row, and I just had a day off today, and it's just beautiful out.
Oh, nice.
And I saw Rose's new movie, which was just as beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
I want to
nice.
see that too. The
Yeah.
Million Miles Away or something.
It's
right?
on Amazon. Everyone's got Prime, right?
Yeah, I got Prime. Yeah,
I don't
We're
have
all,
that.
we're all slaves to Amazon.
yeah, I got to see our girl, or she's not a girl, our lady.
Oh, she's so good in it. And because she's playing like a really supportive wife,
hmm
she just has so many like sincere, like emotional family moments. Her performance reminded me of Alita a bit because she goes through like all different emotions.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
And she smiles so much in it, which you can't get enough of Rose's smile. It just makes me smile.
And yeah, I guess the star, I guess, or the titular character, I guess,
Michael
is,
Pena.
Michael Pena. Yeah, that's right. I like
Yeah.
that guy. He was
No,
in
he's
The
great.
Martian.
I've always liked him since I was
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, he was in The Martian. I really liked The Martian. He was one of the astronauts that was would kind of get in little, discussions with Matt Damon's character, and they would kind of tease
Yeah.
each other and do stuff like that, So he was great,
I pretty much only remember Matt Damon from that movie.
Ah, yeah. Well, that was a good movie.
It's just Matt Damon on the poster. That's all I can remember.
Yeah.
And he was making potatoes on Mars, right? Pretty sure he
Yeah.
did that.
Farming, as he told those kids at the end, farming in his own shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Holy
pretty
moly.
good.
Yeah, it was a good movie. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, so I guess
Not as good as Alita, though, I must say.
Oh, absolutely not. I've seen The Martian twice, and I usually
Yeah.
don't watch movies more than once. There are a few movies I've watched more than once,
Mm.
but none near as much as our girl Alita. That's for sure. I probably watched Jeremiah Johnson and Once Upon a Time in the West. I probably watched both of those about 10 times each, but they
Yeah.
pale. They pale compared to how many times I've watched Alita.
No other movie comes close to how many times as I've watched Alita.
Oh, absolutely not.
It just became like you listen to your favorite album all the time. It just became sort of like that. You just enjoy it that much.
Yes, exactly. Because I know I've watched it over 60 times. I know I have, and I'm a lightweight.
Yeah,
compared to
I'm
some of
well
these
up to 100.
Yeah. So
I stopped
But-
counting in the 50s because I couldn't be bothered, and I've just watched it a bunch of times since then. So
yeah, I've stopped counting in the 50s too. And I've watched it. Oh, I bet I've watched it at least 20 times since then. So I'm well.
yeah, I don't
past
like to
60.
overdo rewatching it.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'll get burned out on it. And
No, but at the
I
same
watch-
time, you don't want to leave too long a gap.
yeah, that's right. So and I watch it and I'll say, oh God, I hope I don't get burned out.
Yeah.
And I get into it. And
Then you watch it and you hear that music starting, and you're like, "Ah, yes, I'm just back in heaven."
Yeah, that's right. You see her open her eyes for the first time. I mean, yeah, really. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And you get a lot of that kind of performance from the Rose's new movie, so definitely check out A Million Miles Away.
Will do.
No, not in theaters. Sadly, I wish it was in theaters.
Yeah.
On Amazon Prime now.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to check that out. That's for sure. How many times have you seen Alita, Lee? Do you have a general idea?
More than a couple dozen times.
Yeah.
I kind of lost count after that.
That's definitely a lot. That would be like still way above any other number of times I've seen a film before.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, before we get to the main topic, I guess
on the main topic, I don't know anything about martial arts. We need someone like Den in here or someone like that.
I invited Den.
Even Angelus. Angelus does his karate, right?
Yeah, he does karate. And
doesn't Max Tack know some martial arts as well?
Yeah, I'm going to be useless. Sorry.
No, that's all right. We like having you on. You know, I attained a black belt in Kenpo karate, and so I know a little bit about martial arts. You know, and I guess
good. Yeah, you can carry it then.
Well, yeah, I mean, from a point of knowledge, I'm not. You know, I don't practice it anymore. My brother does, and I was going to invite him, but he wanted to go shopping, so he's not here. So
I've watched somebody who was a black belt once. So
yeah.
Has it been? Sorry, go on.
Lee, you did Aikido, so you got
I did Aikido, but like I was telling you earlier before the stream. That's the way I was trained. I found out is more of a show than an actual combat martial art. It really, I'm not sure it really counts.
Yeah, like hasn't it been like proven that just regular like sort of MMA fighting is just always gonna beat someone doing some fancy like crazy karate?
Well, part of the problem is that Aikido, when it was developed by the founder, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
yeah, I read a book by him one time.
Yeah, it was meant to be layered on top of one of the other established combat arts. So it was supposed to be an additional level of maneuvers you could do in conjunction with it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, over time, that's been lost. And on even worse, the trainers who instruct people in it don't do what's called pressure training, where they attempt to actually take you down while you're practicing it. So it's more of there's a lot of polite showing.
It's on easy mode.
Yeah, it's not really being taught in a way that's going to be helpful in a combat situation.
You know the way beginners and intermediates are trained in a lot of martial arts is through something called kata or forms. And well, we're going to get to this, but you know that kind of teaches newer practitioners how to put together moves. You know, it really doesn't teach you how to fight. You don't really know how to fight until you start fighting, until you start sparring. And even then, you don't learn how to fight until you get hit in the face.
Well, it's like that guy I was telling you about who actually went in depth into trying to find a way to make Aikido work as a combat style. He discovered that the lack of pressure training is probably the worst or the biggest problem with current modern Aikido.
Wow.
Because you're not being taught to use it in an actual fight.
What are you taught to use it in then?
It's just being taught as more for show, really. I mean, they say it's
on a display,
basically
like you're a bird doing like a mating dance.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, so you could. That's a good analogy.
I mean, looking back at the training I got, it felt more like we were just practicing moves. We weren't actually practicing for a fight.
There's still something to that, though. That's not necessarily bad. Like,
well, it's
really
a
want
start.
To fight people anyway? You probably just want to not fight people generally. So
yeah. But like Creek was saying, I mean, it was basically the katas without moving past that to actual fighting technique.
I you know, well, we're going to get to this. Let me. We
have you got slides, Creaky, on all the different martial arts?
Oh, you betcha I do, and I got some video. I got videos too. So
we've even got videos as well as slides.
Yeah, we do. So anyway, it's going to be cool. So anyway, before we get there, and I'm hoping Angela.
Have you got video of Rosa doing training for martial arts?
Not her doing training for the movie, but I do have some video of Rosa.
Okay, that's all right.
As Alita, not Rosa training, because there's not enough there to really show. You know, I mean, Rosa. You know what was impressive
There's
about
a couple
Rosa?
of clips.
Yeah, there is, what's impressive about Rosa is that she trained for 6 months, not just in martial arts, but how to how to skate, stuff like that on those
Yeah,
blade skates, and that's commitment
rollerblades.
right there. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'd
but
love to
anyway,
see her on rollerblades again.
oh yeah, yeah, I'd love to see her taking out cyborgs on the track again. That's what I would.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Anyway, let's get to this, and then we'll jump into it. And I'm hoping Angela shows up here not too late.
Did he
You know,
say he was coming on? He's always late.
yeah. Well, I sent him I did send certainly it's our stream, so I did he's got the link, so he don't have an excuse there. So anyway, getting back to
It's
this.
early. To be fair, if it was that early for me, I'd be like probably not showing up and stuff as well. I'd just be asleep.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's pretty early there. 8 o'clock, I think, and it's
Yeah,
Saturday.
on Saturday,
So,
I'd probably be sleeping until midday.
yeah. Anyway, just a reminder, we want folks to sign the petition. I think we added about 15 people this past week. So I think it was like 179.20, or it could have been 179.19. I can't
Not too
remember.
shabby.
So yeah, we got some folks on there this time. So it's still growing. It's still
Slow but steady.
yeah, that's right. And we definitely got more signatures than the Snyder Cut folks got. So
All right. Always
yeah.
throwing shots at the Snyder Cut, Kuriki.
It's not a shot at them. It's just a
Yeah,
hey, they got what they wanted when they reached 170,000.
Well, that's the thing. We are going to get what we want. They've already
Yeah,
talked about the fact that the sequels
Yeah.
are getting worked on.
yeah.
That's why I'm like, Creaky, do we even need to worry about this petition? I think I said that last week or something.
Oh no, I think we should. I think we should still keep signing it, just to keep things going in case somebody says,
Never
"Oh, I
stop.
don't know."
Somebody somewhere drops the ball.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I do want us to keep signing the petition and stuff like that.
Can't hurt.
Yep. And also, we got a fundraiser going, the Hero Arm campaign. Just
Much more important, I'd say.
Yeah. Now we haven't had any money in there for the past added to it in the past couple of weeks, and that's partly my fault because I haven't had time to really hit it hard because I've been working. I was telling pre-stream, I was telling Lee that I'm working on my house here in North Carolina. I got a leaky roof, and I've got some plumbing problems going on and some carpentry problems that I'm working on. So. But I think next week when I get back to Colorado, I'm gonna I'm gonna start tweeting this every day.
Wait, sorry, what are the carpentry problems?
Well, I got some stairs going up to my deck, and behind the house.
Oh.
We got a real big deck out there. It's covered and everything.
Well, that sounds nice.
Used to have parties under there and stuff like that, but the stairs that go up to them are starting to kind of get. They're not rotten, but they're kind of getting a little weak. So,
probably a bit slippy.
Yeah, I'm going to replace them with Trex or something like that, and then so it doesn't wear out as much. And I got to put gutters up around part of it and stuff like that, so the water doesn't get on it, So anyway,
sounds like a hassle.
Yeah. So, but anyway, if you have not contributed to the Hero Arm campaign, please consider doing so. No amount.
Yeah, this reminds me, we've got Tilly's released her first single, and she's appearing in her first acting role.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Huh.
It's all kicking off. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it on the mainstream tomorrow as well.
Yeah,
that should be in the news. Maybe I'll speak to Angelus. Is Angelus hosting tomorrow?
I'm not sure who's hosting.
Okay, it'll be good to know.
Yeah, I think Angelus hosted last week, so it might be Maxie.
Might be Maxie. Okay.
Those two kind of coordinate with each other. And if neither one of them come on, I guess I'll be hosting. But usually,
Angelus is coming on now, and we can ask him.
Well, yeah, I've only hosted like 2 Radio Chaos streams. I mean, usually when I'm on, I'm either just a contributor or I'm managing the stream. So Tony and I kind of take turns on that one. Or Starvelli, and so
yeah.
But anyway. No amount's too small. If you can only give $1 or £1 or £1 peso or one whatever, please do so. Because this is for a good cause. We want to give someone who is handicapped. They're missing a limb. Missing an arm or something. We want to get them a bionic arm. And I think it's a
they're really cool.
Cause.
The bionic arms are really cool.
Yes, they are. So
I think it's changing the way people perceive like arm prosthetics, because like Tilly talks about this too. They always used to try and like give you fake hand, that they try to make it look like human hands, which always had like a weird effect, like when you noticed
the uncanny valley type thing. Yeah,
exactly. But this, like, this is they've got a robot hand, and that's really cool. You know what I mean?
You can fancy it up, make it look
what's
neat.
that hand? Sorry, say again.
I was just going to say, you can fancy it up, make it look neat, kind of high tech.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a piece of art you can personalize, which is also incredibly cool.
Well, they've got. I've seen on YouTube. I've seen a couple of videos by reputable scientific, on reputable scientific channels. I can't recall the names, but they're starting to experiment with direct connection to nervous system with some hands. And
in terms of controlling the hand, or
yes,
I was telling you guys about that a while back.
That's right. Yeah,
there was a guy who had a rod embedded or mounted into the bone of his arm. He had his arm amputated down to about mid bicep, and there was a metal rod down below that with the stuff mounted inside the rod and all the connections and everything.
That's cool. So he's a proper like cyborg with it implanted in his body.
Yeah.
And
they were also separately doing some studies working with a woman who lost her arm in an automobile accident. They were working with her to refine a touch sensitivity system. For prosthetics.
That's
and they've been working on that one for several years now too. So
how's that going? Can they feel touch and sensations?
Yeah, she was able to feel textures and touch.
Oh, that's beautiful. I find that really beautiful. That's one thing I love about Alita. When she gets a new body and she can feel all that, like the pleasure of human delicate touch, I find that a stunning piece of art in itself.
Those texture sensors.
Because it's where we're going is in the future. So I'm really interested in that technology.
Yeah.
Now, this was also several years ago, so there's no telling how far they've come since then.
Yeah.
They may have gotten even farther in it. Yeah.
Well, 600 years from now, the Creek is going to be a total replacement cyborg. So.
Still winning cyborg lifting championship.
I'll be a hunter warrior, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, and Alita will be my niece. So, Channel does not exist. How's it going?
Yay.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Channel.
It's good to have you on, lady. So how are things in Poland?
Oh, I'm not in Poland right now. I'm in Belgium.
Oh, cool. Are you on holiday or vacation or what? Nice.
I've been to Belgium once in my life. I was on holiday as well.
I'm at visiting family.
Nice. Oh yeah.
First I've ever been is England.
I went to Antwerp.
Do you speak French, Channel?
Un petit peu.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. See, I speak a little bit. That proves that I know a little bit.
Yeah, I don't speak too much French. You'd think with my last name being Villeneuve, I would be able to speak French. I know a couple of phrases, but that's about it. C'est moi, c'est comment allez-vous, je comprends facilement, that kind of stuff. But that's about my extent of my knowledge of French.
Same.
My last name, I'm not gonna say it, but it is German, and some people get confused that I don't speak German at all.
I speak fairly good German, I hope. Although I guess Finn out there would probably disagree, or at least he would laugh at some of my German if he's out there. I'm not sure he's out there, so.
I haven't checked the chat today.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't put it on. It's very bad.
Yeah.
Way more fun when you talk to the chat as well.
Oh yeah. Okay, so anyway, this Hero Arm campaign, we're not only raising money for the Bionic Cam, but we even got some benefit out of it already because it helped pay for the airplane that was flying around. That told Disney we want that sequel. Damn it! So that's what
Yeah.
Ryan said. But
and that was really cool. I can't believe they just ignored it.
Yeah, well, we're going to do it again on Rose's birthday. I think that would be a good time. Not Rose's
next
birthday.
July. That's quite a while away.
Well, yeah, but I think I want to do it again early next year, probably in March on Jesse.
What about
birthday.
February for the anniversary?
Yeah, or we could do it there. That's even better. That's a better idea. Yeah, I like that. Because I like to do little birthday videos I've done a couple for Rosa. I did one for Elle Lamont. I want to do one when Jessie Fisher's birthday comes up. I want to do one for her too, just to let them know that we all love them, that we want them back in the sequel. So anyway, they probably know that already, but what the hell,
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess we get to the main topic here, and here it is. Now, first, before we get to comparing, or at least contrasting Panzer Kunst as a martial art, we need to kind of see what Panzer Kunst is, because there's really, in the movie, we hear Alita refer to it, but we don't really get a sense,
it's not really well defined.
Yeah, it's, you don't see any of the, the discipline required for training and stuff like that.
They do show a lot of moves though, like when she's training for the mirror. That's clearly,
and we're going to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't show anything. They only mention it. They do show quite a lot.
Well, I got 3 videos that I'm going to play, but about Panzer Kunst before we get into the other martial arts, and I got some videos lined up for that too. But anyway, Panzer Kunst itself is it's similar to a lot of martial arts in that it's got punches and kicks and stuff like that. There's even some grappling in it, and there's some techniques that look like jujitsu, and it's, and even some techniques that you would consider like, well, I wouldn't say boxing, but punches. It's got that. The thing about Panzer Kunst, though, that differentiates it from other forms of martial arts. Now, keep in mind, Panzer Kunst is a fictional martial art. It's not real, but to us, it's real because we love Alita, But Panzer Kunst in the storyline, it was developed for cyborgs, particularly those that were Martian cyborgs in the military. So you could see very much that the military was teaching their cyborgs, their military members, how to do hand-to-hand combat using Panzer Kunst. Now, we all know that Panzer Kunst, when a cyborg uses it, a cyborg is a lot tougher than a human. The techniques that they do use in Panzer Kunst, a human could not pull off. We're going to see a couple of advantages, a couple of instances of that. Another thing about Panzer Kunst, and this is even covered in the manga and in the anime to a degree, it's really effective if a cyborg like Alita, for say, Alita's 4'11" or what, about 1.5 meters tall, maybe, and Garishka was probably 3 meters tall, probably.
Maybe. How many feet is that?
Yeah. And she beat him in the alley, certainly just kicked his butt in the alley, and definitely kicked his butt in Vector's office, killing him. That's a pretty thorough butt kicking when you kill him. but it's extremely effective against larger opponents, and the cyborgs themselves, knowing that martial art is effective against larger opponents, that doesn't give them pause to not attack an opponent because they're large, because they know their fighting style is more than an equalizer, fighting a larger opponent, even a larger cyborg.
Which is why it doesn't work that well when two ARs are fighting between each other, because there's no huge size difference, and it's made largely for fighting larger opponents.
It can be used though against she used it against and we're going to talk about this. She did use it against Zapan, although the technique she used against Zapan in the bar was similar to one of the Kenpo karate grab arts, is what we
you
call
can
it.
use it. It's not, but it's not going to be as effective.
Yeah. Well, it sure was effective against the Pan. I mean, you know, she can't. Well, he is a little larger than her, I guess, but it's not appreciably, I guess. But you're right. That is its main, what it was developed for, to enable these Martian military members to be able to fight large cyborgs or large androids or whatever, you know. And it was certainly very effective. Of course, she used speed and power for this and her plasma weapon to take out all those Centurions, you know. Another thing that differentiates it from other more earthly, I guess you could call it, martial arts, it's also very effective in low gravity or zero G, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was specifically made for zero G.
Not
Yeah, because
well, it is that is one of the specifics behind it. But it's like Channel says, another specific behind it is being able to fight against large opponents, you know.
Yeah, I think it was meant to have those things in mind, but it's meant to be versatile because not every opponent you're going up against is going to be larger than you.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think it's meant to have an advantage in zero gravity and against larger opponents.
Yeah, I never thought of it giving a specific advantage to bigger opponents. Is that laid out more clearly in the manga?
No. Well,
it works best in zero G, but it also works fine with gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The basics are, it's explained that the basics are easiest to practice in zero G.
Yeah. Well, here's an example, and I'll play a couple of examples of how Alita uses it, and then we'll talk about it on the other side here. We'll talk about how it's similar to some karate techniques. So here we go. Now, I don't have the sound on this because I don't want to get yeeted. So, you know, but I do have.
I love the music here.
Yeah, it's great. And I hate that we can't play it, but, you know. Now, you see that one that was called Snake Creeps Down?
I was really confused what these words meant for a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, am I having a stroke?
Well,
what are these random words?
Well, no, they're not random words. Snake Creeps Down is a kung
fu.
Can
we put it on again?
Yes, we can play it as many times.
I didn't really. It took me a minute to realize what was happening with the words.
Yeah. So, you know, here she is. Now that's what's called a blade hand. That's in a lot of martial arts, and so is a back fist, and overhead blocks and outward blocks. Chain punch is more of a Jeet Kune Do and Wing Chun. Snake Creeps Down. That's a kung fu move right there.
Oh.
And now this one, the chain punch. Now hurts a Heian. That is a specific Panzer Kunst move. It's not in any other martial art. And the reason, now she's in her doll body there, so she cannot deliver the electromagnetic addition to that.
Oh, but she can now.
Well, in her Berserker body and in her Imaginos body, she definitely can. And it will not only, you know, cause your heart to stop, but if you're a cyborg, you got systems, that electromagnetic addition to that move is going to lock up your systems, you know. So that's the thing about the Hertz of Heian. So I'll play it one more time so we can see it. Now, we've all seen the movie a bunch of times, but
sorry, the Hertz of Heian is doing the quick punch against the mirror.
Well, no, yeah, that's the technique. Now, what it's meant for is for her to hit you in the heart.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And being a cyborg, if she really hit a human in the heart, they would explode.
Yeah, you'd die.
Explode. Yeah, I mean,
be like a headshot.
Yeah, well, exactly. But if she hits a cyborg with that, and of course in her Berserker or Imaginos body, and adding that electromagnetic component to that move, it's going to lock up their systems.
Disable their core.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an EMP. You know how you hear about how a nuclear weapon will emits EMP and it takes out all the electronics. Well, that's kind of what this does.
I'd like to see her use that on Japan.
Well, it would be no more Japan if she did, you know, because Japan.
We still need him for the second movie.
Yeah, that's right. So now, when she was in the manga, when she fought Japan, he was in the Berserker body and she was in the civilian body. She could not hit him with an electromagnetic pulse because that would be kind of like what her in the, that was like her in the doll body. But that right there, that's what you see the picture there on the screen. That's called Snake creeps down, and that is a kung fu kind of stance. Is
I
what
could never bend my leg. I could never do that.
it was impressive that Rosa could do that.
Do you think she did that?
I think so. Yeah, she
I don't
trained.
know. That was surely one of the stunt doubles who did that.
Well, she did train for 6 months, and I'd like to believe that she did that. You know, I mean, I haven't trained in martial arts for quite a while, and I can do that. I mean, because you know, there's another. Well, you know, my strength coach has me do something called the Cossack squat, and it's very similar to that. You know, so and if you just do it a few times, you know, you just keep training it, you can do that. And if Rosa trained for 6 months, she could probably do that, I think.
I'd love it if she could.
Oh yeah. So anyway, and now here's another one of Alita, and this is I think her fighting, and this is where Panzer Kunst does work not only against larger.
Actually, that position's not that hard to do.
Not really, no. Not.
Yeah, it may have been over egging.
Yeah, I just tried during this. I just tried. It probably got it wrong, but I got close, so that can't be that hard to do.
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah, because it's quite spread out. You can balance fairly easily, I think.
Well, Channel, I think you're pretty young, and I think you're pretty flexible, so I bet you can do this easy. So, you know.
I certainly couldn't.
Oh, you're just rubbing it in how old I am now.
No, I'm older than you, Vladi, so don't worry about it.
That's true.
So anyway, here's another a little clip, I guess, of now that what we saw in this. I'm gonna play that again because we all love it. This right here is more like
put it on repeat.
Call a kata. Now I've got the video is reversed here, but it's what is called kata or forms. You know, is what this is. A lot of martial arts use this. Not everyone, but a lot of them do. And you know, and they have different forms. You know, they call them different things and that kind of thing. But and of course, the 4 hearts. That's what the Creek put on it. So anyway, but anyway,
you always put hearts on everything.
Yes, I do, because I love Alita and I love Rosa.
You just want to spread Alita love. I love it.
That's what I want. Yes. So anyway, that what we saw there would be what you would call kata. Okay, now this is actual. Now we all know this form. We all know these scenes here, but I'm gonna play the scene of her in the alley. Now there's no sound to it because we don't want to get yeeted. So anyway, here's the second part, and this is the application, you know, of that particular techniques. So you see her there. Now, you know, now that's not a form there, but there's Derek Mears, and he's going to get, that's a flying side kick. And this is called ground and pound right here. Now, yeah, that's more of a mixed martial arts thing. And of course, Nisiana now is going to
smashing someone's face in. That's what it is.
Yeah, ground and pound. And as you can see, Alita is, I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't say she's afraid, but I think her awareness is very heightened here, you know. And even though Nisiana is armed, Alita is so fast that, you know, she evades these attacks.
She's running on pure adrenaline.
Yeah, that's right, or whatever.
Panzer Kunst adrenaline.
Yeah. And of course, this is right out of the manga, right here, or out of the anime also.
Yeah, masterpiece.
That's called a drop kick. Now it's improvised. And that's the thing about Panzer Kunst, certainly the way Alita uses it. This is a flying side kick. And this is like this is like a double flying side kick. And of course, that decapitates Nisiana, you know. And you see, there was
incredible job, Alita.
It was fluid what she was doing there, because fights are not pre-planned like that. You know, a real fight is going to be a fluid thing. It's not going to be, you know, you do this movement and this person throws this punch, you do that movement. It's nothing like that. It's very chaotic. It's you know,
it's a frenetic, chaotic mess.
That's exactly right. And you can see Alita knows how to apply these movements as needed. Now, another thing about Panzer Kunst, now
how was that, big boy?
An axe kick right there. A lot of styles use axe kicks, but none of them could cleave off a steel arm like that off of Gorwishka, you know. And of course, there's nothing about Panzer Kunst here. I mean, she's just going to try to hit him with this rocket hammer. So
Yeah. The rocket hammer is like way bigger than she is.
yeah, that's right. But she's able to wield it like it weighs like 3 or 4 ounces.
Yeah.
That right there is right out of the I guess the novelization. Another second and I would have had him,
Yeah.
So that wasn't a form. That's more fluid. That is the practical application of the techniques that Alita was taught, in Panzer Kunst. Now, we mentioned that Panzer Kunst is used by Martian cyborgs. They're in the military, and they do training. And remember, we talked about the zero G and low gravity training, and that's what this next video right here is going to be all about. And they do train with weapons, as you can see, and that right there is called a bow or a staff. And certainly they are training in this.
How often do they actually fight in zero G, though? Battles, surely everyone would just rather prefer to fight with gravity, right?
Well, if you're doing ship-to-ship combat, boarding actions might actually take place, and if the gravity's been cut off on a ship, then you're going to have a lot of zero G combat going on.
Yeah, I'm just not thinking of space enough, aren't I?
So I have a feeling space figured quite frequently into the Earth War.
Oh, yeah, but interplanetary, so it makes sense.
Yeah. I want to play that again because I want to describe a couple of the moves here that she does. So, of course, now this is just her in the training in the gravity chamber with the bow or staff, as they call it. So,
I think it's called a bow staff, isn't it?
Bow staff or whatever, and I learned how to fight with a nunchuck, but I never learned how to use the bow. But when she gets on the moon, there's a couple of things I want to say here about this. Now, of course, she's just jumping on the moon. But this right here, this is kind of that kick right there and that throw. That hip throw is a judo technique, or jiu-jitsu. And that's a front kick. That's from karate. That's a double side kick right there where she hit that soldier with a side kick with one leg to his side and the other one to his knee. So see how fluid that was. Well, one thing about what kata does is it does teach you how to put movements together. It's really good for people that are just learning or intermediate level, like green belts or something like that. It's real good for them, to learning how to put movements together. But in a real application, your brain has to be adapted to the degree, or you have to be so proficient at it that you can use the technique in various in different ways, and I see the Finn is out there, Grus Scott Finn, Begetas Dia heute, as they would say, or Hallo and Savos. That's also another greeting, I guess, in German. But yeah, there you go. David Watson's out there too. Hello, David Watson. Anybody that wants to come on, if you want to come on, here, just come on. Especially if you got martial arts experience, we'd really love to have you. We'd love to have you to come on and, click on that link and we'll bring you in. Okay. So Panzer Kunst, as you can see there, it's very similar to a lot of actual martial arts and moves. It's got a lot of and many martial arts have some of the same techniques. I mean, a punch is a punch, whether you're boxing or whether you're in karate or whether you're in Panzer Kunst or whatever. A punch is a punch is a punch, and so is a kick, But Panzer Kunst, the thing about it is being developed for cyborgs, knowing that their body is going to be much more tougher, much more resilient than a human body. They can execute techniques that human martial arts practitioners cannot execute because they just don't have the power to do it. Plus, if someone was to try, like a human being, was to try to kick, take off Gruishka's arm, they would probably break their leg before they would break cleave off Gruishka's arm. Now, we're going to see a possible exception to that when we get into the Kung Fu thing. So
her Panzer Kunst put some kind of force field around her doll body that meant it could slice.
No, it's just focusing the kinetic energy.
Yeah. And see, her doll body is pretty tough. I mean, it's not meant for combat.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So it's just because we're overthinking it right now.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think it's supposed to
assumed it
be
was just
something.
about strong enough to cut through it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's supposed to be something along the lines of like how a martial artist can punch through a stack of bricks with their bare hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good shout.
But you see, Alita with that axe kick, she took off Gerwishka's arm, and that's steel, you know. So I mean, there's not a lot of people are going to break steel with an axe kick. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. You know, you remember when she punched the ground beside Hugo when she found out he was wanted for murder?
Yeah,
that was asphalt.
Massive pothole. That would really annoy me if I was cycling by.
Whoa!
Damn, Alita.
If she had hit Hugo with that punch, he'd be dead. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
he ended up dead really quick soon after anyway. So not because of difference.
It might have been a less traumatic death.
Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's kind of Panzer Kunst in a nutshell, right there. It's like a lot of martial arts. It's got two distinct advantages that most martial arts don't have. Now, a lot of martial arts can train you to the degree where you can fight against larger opponents. Now, in this case with Panzer Kunst, it's much larger, like a 1.5 meter individual fighting someone who's 3 or 4 meters high. So, you know, I mean, there's not too many human beings running around that are 3 or 4 meters high, you know, but there are cyborgs like that, you know, and Panzer Kunst gives them a big advantage. Also, the 0G and low gravity training. There's no martial art on Earth that trains you for that. So that's the two distinct advantages that Panzer Kunst has over Earth martial arts, given the fact that we know that Panzer Kunst is a fictitious martial art. Mm-hmm. So, okay, any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's kind of just a bit magical.
It is. Yeah, it is, because it's a movie. You know, it's a movie, and that's cool. We're good with that.
What's wrong?
Considering some of the
there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I agree. What? Who's to say there isn't that kind of mystical energy in the real world that gives people extra powers?
Could be.
Well, considering some of the things I've seen real world martial artists able to do that are a bit beyond what a untrained human can do, I could absolutely believe that a powerful cyborg body would be capable of quite a bit more.
Yes. Yeah, there's going to be a video coming up about what a human can do.
I mean, there was a study done to, I can't remember what kind of martial arts it was. I can't even remember the show it was, but they went into studies about the kind of capabilities human bodies have. And they found one martial artist who had practiced for, I think, like almost 20 years. And his punches were the equivalent of being hit by an automobile going 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty potent.
Yeah. And he had practiced hitting hard substances to the point that the little tiny spaces in the bones of his hands and arms, they had collapsed. And it had basically, as the bones had healed, his bones had become denser than normal.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's got knuckle dusters he's created his own knuckle dusters.
Basically, yeah.
We are going to get to that, folks, because I got a real good example on that one.
Oh, wow.
So, there's some interesting things that even real world martial artists
didn't that mess up his joints?
It didn't damage his joints at all. The way he practiced it, it avoided the joints and kept to just the bones themselves between the joints.
Wow.
Yeah, he was careful not to hurt himself to the point that he, was wounded. It just caused very minor damage to the bones that easily healed over time.
That's smart.
Yeah. Now.
And it was just a little bit at a time. So, it didn't leave him any serious harm.
Now, we're going to
I'm not talking about a sudden injury to the joint. I'm sure he avoided that. Just with the constant tiny damage, that carrying over to the joints and causing early arthritis.
Well, that's the thing. He hadn't lived long enough for them to really be able to determine that or not.
He definitely would have had problems. Come on.
Well, I can tell you. Well, we're going to get to this. Y'all are getting way ahead of me here, but that's okay. That's fine.
Well,
Yeah,
how many slides into it is it?
we're about about a third maybe.
I mean, when does this come up?
This comes up
20 slides in later.
No. About 3 or 4 slides after this. You know, we'll
Okay.
see. So.
Okay.
Now we're going to specifically talk about these 4 types of what's called martial arts styles. Now I grouped grappling as one. It's not a style, but there are a whole lot of similarities between Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, and even wrestling. So we're going to see some of that. Okay.
When you say wrestling, are you talking about like ancient Greek wrestling?
Krav Maga, yeah, we're going to talk about that in another slide that's after the slides coming up to address these 4. We'll
go through every fighting style in history.
Not every fighting style, because there are literally thousands.
Exactly.
And Creaky is not going to be able to put together 1,000 slides.
Oh, I thought you may have.
No. Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow morning if we did that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're going to talk about grappling, because you saw Alita in Panzer Kunst how she did that hip throw. And if you remember in the bar fight, she did a couple of tornado kicks and followed them up with hip throws. That's very much a jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu technique also. Okay. So, you know, and she does, that's part of Panzer Kunst. They teach them that, you know, I guess in the manga.
I love the way she was going after everyone in that bar. No one was safe. She just pounced on them, and then they'd be punched in the balls and
yeah. Although,
or smashed in the face.
Punching a cyborg in the balls, I'm not sure how that would affect them, but
Probably
I don't know. I think
not.
depends on.
I mean, depends how much pain sensors they got installed down there.
I reckon a lot of them have got like fake penises and stuff.
Well,
they probably are really sensitive.
That part of them may still be human too. So
yeah, it could be that
there's
as well.
Probably some version of cybernetic penises in the Alita world where after a certain amount of pain, the receptors shut off.
Yeah,
well, in
probably.
Cyberpunk, they have something called a pain editor, which is a neural processor add-on that allows you to cut out pain signals.
So they can feel pleasure and they can feel a signal that it's if it's damaged, but they're not gonna feel ridiculous pain if it's badly damaged.
Yeah, there's no why would it keep making you feel pain? It's good to feel some pain because it tells you when you're like in trouble.
Oh, I love it, David Watson. She's a dirty fighter going for low fruit. I love that. Yeah, that's good. By the way, if anybody wants to come on, click on that. Finn, I know you said you wanted to come on, so get your ass on here. Let's talk. You can come on here and say I love Alita. That's good enough. Or you can even
speak German.
You can say Ich liebe Alita if you want to. We're good with that too. So
I did like a ton of German in my life.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about grappling. We're going to get into Jeet Kune Do. Now, Jeet Kune Do is kind of a different animal. It's kind of a combination of a lot of things. Like
I've never heard of this one.
It's Bruce Lee style.
Is it?
That's what Jeet Kune Do is. Yes, it is.
I've never even heard. I've obviously heard Bruce Lee loads, but I've never heard anyone say Jeet Kune Do.
It definitely is. That's his style. That's what it's called. He wrote a book about it, as a matter of fact.
Damn. No, I just find it weird that it's not more well known.
Well, it was really well known in the 70s. Creek was around in the 70s, so that's when I was a martial arts practitioner. But it's kind of a combination. It's got a lot of the. It's in some ways it's similar to Panzer Kunst. It's got some karate in it. It's got some jiu-jitsu in it. It's certainly got the kicks for Taekwondo, and it's just more of a. It doesn't have any forms in it. It's all practical fighting, But we're going to get to that. I'll show you a video of some of Bruce Lee's fighting techniques, and of course karate. There is a lot of karate styles. We'll get to the different. Styles, that we'll see there's 4 main styles, but then there's some more, that are kind of, I wouldn't call them sub styles, but they're kind of additional. They could be even combinations of the 4 main styles or 2 of them or whatever. But there are a lot of karate styles. And Kung Fu is also, is a lot of Kung Fu styles, a bunch of them. We're going to see a couple of videos on Kung Fu. It's in some ways similar to karate, but it seems to be, to me, I've always thought of it as a little more fluid, a little more, I wouldn't say smoother, but it's there's some distinct differences in it, and how it's applied, how it's used, that kind of thing.
What about Tai Chi? Have you got that on the?
Oh yeah, that's a Kung Fu style, by the way. I know Den and I have had that discussion whether Tai Chi is an actual fighting sport or fighting art, and he says no, it's more of a just kind of for balance and stuff like that. Well, it is good for balance, but Tai Chi, I know when I was a black belt, I sparred a guy that was a Tai Chi master, and he kicked my butt using Tai Chi, because Tai Chi itself can be used not just for slow, fluid motion. It can be used, with hard and fast technique, And I could not lay a glove on that guy, or could I kick him? I couldn't do it, And I mean, I wasn't a world beater at karate, but I was fair. I was fairly good at it, And but I was nowhere near him. I mean, he was the master of our style, And he definitely knew what he was doing. My brother also sparred with him and had a similar experience with this guy, and he's long passed away now. I mean, he passed away back in 1995, I think. But yeah. So anyway, we're going to go over these four, and I guess we're going to start with the grappling arts, I guess is what you could call them. And there are really four major grappling arts. Now, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually you could think of it almost as a subset of Jiu-Jitsu. And what happened was there was a guy, and I can't recall his name, but Jiu-Jitsu is a very complicated, with a lot of techniques that are, it's just hard to describe, but there's just tons and tons of techniques that you have to be precise and stuff like this. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu took the best of those techniques and refined them, and and use them in their practice and in tournaments and stuff like that. Now, a lot of the moves are the same. Jiu-Jitsu itself does have kicks in it. I'm not sure about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It may. I'm not sure, because I don't know much about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Judo is certainly derived from Jiu-Jitsu as well, but it was primarily developed as a, kind of evolved from Jiu-Jitsu for tournaments, competitions and stuff like that. Now, wrestling is very similar also to Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. I mean, it's because it's grappling. Okay. Now, what I want to play for you is a couple of things here, and one of them, of course, is going to be a Jiu-Jitsu, I guess, type of thing, and here it is. So I have to share my screen for this one. Let's see here. All right, share screen. Come on. It's waiting to share. There we go. So there's all right. How to get 4 points? There we go. We don't want to share the audio because I don't want to get yeeted.
What's this, Judo?
This is Jiu-Jitsu.
What?
This is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
This is Jiu-Jitsu.
Wait, let it get finished here, and I can.
What's happening? Your voice has gone weird, is it?
He's. You can see it's a lot of grappling, as you can see.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very similar in a lot of ways to wrestling, and regular jiu-jitsu and judo is similar too. I mean, there's certainly differences, but we
lost channel.
Oh, we lost. Yeah, we did. What happened?
She's on her phone, so something might have
something
disconnected.
Yeah, that's right. Well, when she comes back on, I'll pull her back in. But you can see it's kind of similar to wrestling, isn't it? I mean, from what you can see there. Now they concentrate more on technique, precise technique to achieve a certain type of move or something like that. Whereas wrestling kind of does that too, but wrestling also depends on strength as well, you know. So, uh, eh, you know, let's see. I think I got another one here. I think, yeah. Now here's one that's wrestling. Okay, I want to play that one. Uh, Let's stop that one and let's play a wrestling. Okay, hopefully you all can see that. The greatest moves in wrestling.
I can see it. What is this sound? It's really small though. I need to make mine bigger.
Let's see if I can make it bigger.
There's not much you can do. It's already.
Get what I'm saying?
I don't think there's any way for me to do that.
Well, I can do it on my tablet. Don't worry.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. That's a short, is what it is. I can't make it bigger.
That's another reason why I hate shorts.
Yeah. So you can see there that it's very similar. Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian or jiu-jitsu, and part of judo too, is in wrestling are very similar because they're all grappling is what they're doing. Now I think jiu-jitsu does have strikes and kicks in it, but they mainly concentrate on takedowns, you know, things like arm bars and you know, there's one called a crab claw, and there's a single leg and double leg takedowns and stuff like that. You know, they concentrate on the execution of the technique to get points is what they do in competitions. Wrestling is similar. You get points in a different way than you would in jiu-jitsu, but it's essentially similar in that, you know, you execute this technique and you get your opponent over on his back or something like that. You get X number of points for that, you know. So that's the grappling. Now, Panzer Kunst versus these grappling arts. I think you saw Alita on the moon. She did that hip throw. Well, that's what this guy here in the picture is doing, a hip throw on that individual there. Okay, the guy in the white gi is throwing the guy in the blue gi. That's a hip throw. Well, Alita did that on the moon. She also did that in the bar. You know, she did a hip throw there too. So Panzer Kunst is also got some jiu-jitsu type moves in it. Okay, so that's kind of how it is similar. Where Panzer Kunst, I think, maybe is better than jiu-jitsu, is the fact that there's a lot more strikes and kicks in Panzer Kunst than there would be in, say, jiu-jitsu. You know, there's a lot more techniques for punches, and certainly any of these, whether it's jiu-jitsu, karate, or kung fu, none of them have what's called the Hertz Heian. None of them do. That's kind of a fictitious technique that's going to stop your heart if they hit you. But that said, now in karate, you know, someone can hit you in such a way, like in the solar plexus, and, you know, pretty much disable you, you know.
A sharp blow to the sternum might also shock the heart into stopping as well.
Well, you remember last year there was a football game on television. It was a Monday night football game. I think it was between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think you remember that one guy. I can't remember his name now. He was a defensive back, was tackling a guy, and another football player hit him, and he hit him just right. It was between, I guess, where his heart was beating, and he hit him in just the right place. And I think his shoulder pad hit him in right where the heart is or something like that. And if you remember from that, I don't know if you saw that or not, Lee, his heart stopped. And they had to revive him. You remember they revived him on the field, and
I didn't see that. The one that I saw was a 16-year-old, 14-year-old kid, actually, I think 14-year-old kid playing minor league baseball. and he got struck by a fastball right in the sternum, and it
Yeah.
stopped his heart.
Yeah.
So probably a similar thing to that.
Yeah.
A sharp blow right to the middle of the chest, right at the right point and right at the right spot, and it
Terrifying. That
shocks
could
the
happen
heart.
to any of us.
Yep.
Yeah, that could happen to anybody, and certainly a punch like that can happen. But think of difference. Now, if a human can hit you like that with whether it's boxing or kung fu or karate
How
or
much more so could a
jiu-jitsu,
powerful cyborg? Yeah.
a cyborg hitting you with a Hertz of Hayon is not just going to stop your heart; it's going to explode your heart. So you're not going to get revived.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
You know, you're dead. You know, you're not. Nobody's going to be able to do CPR on you because there's not going to be nothing to do CPR on. So you know, you're gone. You know, that kind of thing. So I think that's a big advantage that our fictitious martial art Panzer Kunst has on all of these human martial arts. Okay, but you can see Panzer Kunst had some grappling in it. You know, we only saw 2 instances of it, but
Well,
it does.
Panzer Kunst, from what I understand, is a mixture of a wide range of martial arts.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is actually. It's very similar to this. Now, this is Bruce Lee's martial art, Jeet Kune Do. Yes, Flotty, that's what it's called. Bruce developed this. Now, here's how this came about. Bruce Lee was a long time student of a guy called Ip Man, I guess, or IP Man, whatever you want to call it.
I saw in the was it the wiki for the guy? It was I guess the Chinese pronunciation was Yip Man.
Yeah, that's right.
Something
and
along those lines.
there's been some movies on this, and the very first movie that the Ip Man was in, you know, that first, I can't remember the guy's name that played the main character, but he was Bruce Lee. He played the character that was Bruce Lee's teacher in what's called Wing Chun, you know. And Bruce Lee, you know, when he practiced Wing Chun, you know, he got proficient at it. He was good at it. But the problem he saw with it was that he didn't see it being, how would you say, having enough scope to it, or enough versatility to it, or adaptability, I guess would be a better word, you know, to be a more, how would you say, comprehensive fighting style. And Bruce Lee really didn't like kata. I think he saw maybe some merit in it for teaching beginners, maybe, you know, but for him, and I think a lot of martial artists think this, kata doesn't teach you how to fight. It just teaches you, your brain, how to put together moves, you know, that you would maybe use in a fight. But, you know, you really don't learn how to fight until you fight. You know, it's just, that's just the way it works, you know. Jeet Kune Do does also have some grappling in it, some ground, you know, kind of ground work that does. But Bruce Lee concentrated mostly on practical application of these martial arts techniques, you know, and he really studied it. He wrote a book about it. And he was considered back in the 70s the consummate martial artist. He was the leader. You know, everybody back in the 70s looked up to Bruce Lee as almost like he was above any master, you know, in the martial arts. So, you know, he was in a level by himself, basically. But
yeah, you don't really think he's the only person you really think of when you think of like iconic kung fu karate guy, really.
Yes, that's right. And he was in a TV show in the 60s called The Green Hornet. He played Kato, who was the Green Hornet's, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say sidekick, but I'd say partner, you know. He was also in some kung fu movies. I mean, Enter the Dragon, The Way of the Dragon, The Chinese Connection, stuff like that. You know, he was in, and they were very good movies. I mean, I know my brother and I would watch those movies. These are some movies I also probably watched 10 times each. Not near as much as Alita, but I watched a lot of these Bruce Lee movies many times, you know. But we were watching the movies just to hone this, just to see the technique. You know, we'd watch it and even try to do slow motion because I had a projector back in those days. and we had a couple of Bruce Lee films, you know, and plus we had VCRs and all that. So we would try to slow motion that thing so we could see exactly how the technique was done, you know. And this guy really, really studied hard. He really put in a lot of effort in improving, you know, his skill, you know, and improving the actual effectiveness of a technique, you know. So anyway, here's another, I guess, let me stop my screen here. I want to share a screen. Now this is actually a Bruce Lee, you know, some Bruce Lee techniques he did. This is from the movie called The Way of the Dragon, I think is what it was called. And we don't want to share the audio, yet at least we get, unless we get yeeted. So here. Now I can make this bigger, Lottie.
Hey, it's not a bloody short.
That guy, you see how fast he did that? Look at this. I'm gonna move that back.
Yeah.
This guy practiced. He was. Watch how fast he does this double kick. See that? He kicked his hand, then his face.
Alita didn't do many kicks like that.
No.
More punchy, fast punches.
He's fighting
and
Chuck
like
Norris here.
Kicks. Huh?
Now the other guy he was fighting was a guy named Bob Wall, who was a
Creaky, were you saying something?
he's doing what's called a ki.
Okay.
That's a roundhouse. That was a wheel kick. That was just a throw. That's a jiu-jitsu move. See, if he really believed in the efficiency of movement, not any real wild, sweeping, just real simple,
quick and to the point.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a karate guy he's fighting here.
Very matrixy.
Yeah. Now, of course, this is choreographed. I mean, well, the movements are real, though. I mean, see, he's actually almost just like boxing there, doesn't it? So.
Mm.
Now, it's a nunchuck right there. I learned how to use a nunchuck, and I wasn't that good.
They were illegal in England because of Bruce Lee, I think.
See, there.
I guess we're not going to get Channel back, huh?
Yeah.
It's pretty late where she is, too.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, you can see how Bruce Lee studied a lot of different styles, a lot. He even practiced them. You know, he went to some karate tournaments. Now tournaments weren't his thing, you know. But you could see from his movements how fast he was and the economy of his movements. That's the main thing. It's like Lee said, quick and to the point. You know, none of this showboat, you know, wild, long, you know, flashy kick or something like that. Now he could do that for sure, you know, but the Jeet Kune Do itself is very much practical. efficiency, economy of movement is basically what it is. So
Mhm.
it's very much like Panzer Kunst, I think. Or Panzer Kunst was it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to this first one Alita did here. There's this one technique she does here that I'll stop it, whenever it gets to that. But she does something called a chain punch. That was a tribute. That right there, that's a chain punch.
Mm-hmm.
And she did that. They put that in the movie as a salute or
a tribute to Bruce Lee. Yeah,
tribute. Yeah, there
that
it
was
is
one
again.
of his signature moves.
Awesome.
Yes, it was. So yeah, I thought that was real cool that Rosa did that.
Mm-hmm.
So really nice. So, any thoughts about that?
No, I just love the fighting styles that they.
Yeah, Smendrick is right
really
here.
Cool
Smendrick is right here. This is choreographed for sure, but the moves themselves are fluid. It definitely is. I mean, he can execute those moves. I wouldn't want to have to. Well, he's been dead since 1973, so he's been dead 50 years, and people still revere him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was, in 1973 or 72, I wouldn't have wanted to fight that guy, and I was a black belt in karate. I wouldn't have wanted to fight him because he was he was something. He was revered. He was looked up to by just about every martial artist on the planet.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah, and they've even talked to some MMA fighters that said if Bruce Lee was alive today in his prime, like he was then, he would whip all of them because he's just so fast. He knows how to fight on the ground, and he knows how to grapple. He knows how to punch and kick, certainly. So I mean, because he took meticulous care on learning the techniques. Okay, moving on to the next one, I guess, is going to be karate. And, there are 4 actual or main karate styles. You see them. There's Gojo-ryu, Shito-ryu, Shotokan, and Wado-ryu. Now, what ryu means on the end is it just means style. So, it's just kind of almost, it's kind of redundant, I guess. But that's the 4 main techniques or 4 main styles. Now, there are a lot. Now, I've got 3 more below that. There are a lot of different karate, type styles and sub styles. And there is no way I could put all of them on one slide or even probably 5 slides, 2 that are notable that are directly karate styles are Kyokushin karate and Ishan Ryu. I mean, they're both they're almost styles by themselves. I think Kyokushin karate is a combination of Shito Ryu and Shotokan, and I think it's some evolved moves there. And Ishan Ryu, I'm not sure about that one. Now you see Kenpo on the bottom. Now there are 3 or 4 different type of Kenpos. The Kenpo style I was in was Hawaiian Kenpo. There's American Kenpo. There's a Japanese Kempo. There's a Chinese Kenpo. I mean, they're all slightly different. A lot of the moves are the same. One of the Kenpos I don't think is very good, and I'm not going to call it out here. But I know the Kenpo I learned, the Hawaiian Kenpo, that was basically a Kenpo that we did have forms in it, but they were only mainly to teach beginners the movements themselves and how to put movements together, how to go from one movement to the next. But we concentrated on fighting. We didn't. Once you got past learning the forms and stuff like that, I mean, you would learn like a file of a form, like to get your first belt, which would be purple belt. Then you could do some sparring and stuff like that, but you weren't accomplished, at that point. But it was get you experience, and then you'd learn something we called combinations, and we learned, like knife attacks and special movements and stuff like that. And there were 3 or 4 of these different types of kata. We didn't call them kata, we call them dances, but they were forms. They were like kata. But when you get to a certain point, say brown belt or something like that, now you're focusing more on fighting, not so much on, the kata itself, because it's like, I know Den and I have had this discussion too, is that you really don't know how to fight until you fight, and sparring kind of helps you learn how to fight, but even that's not fighting, but when you get hit in the face, that's when you start learning how to fight. Getting hit in the face is a big deal, when you're doing martial arts. Because I know one time I was sparring with a friend of mine that passed away a couple of years ago, but he hit me in the jaw one time so hard that I could feel it in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out on my feet, for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, headshots can be very disorienting.
And it was funny. It's like he hit me, and we were sparring. We weren't trying to hurt each other particularly, but the way he threw his punch and the way I evaded or something, he caught me just right. And he froze when he went, "Oh my God," because it scared him, And I went, "Wow," I said, "That was a good punch." And afterwards we had a laugh about it, but that's the whole thing about martial arts, is learning how to fight. Now, I got another video here, and what this video is about, it's a video of a karate practitioner fighting a taekwondo practitioner. So let me pull that up. Let's see, where is that? There it is. And I don't want to share the audio. So it's another short, Bloody. I'm sorry.
I'll have to zoom in again just to see what's going on. Lots of high kicking.
Yeah, Taekwondo does have a lot of high kicking in it. Now that you saw that one kick he did there, I'll call it out when he does it again. That's what's called a stomp kick, and it's actually it's almost like an axe kick.
Who wins the fight?
I'm sorry?
Who wins the fight, Taekwondo or karate?
Well, we're going to talk about that. I know I've always said that, certainly some styles are, inherently better than others. There's no doubt about it. But to me, it depends more on how good the practitioners are. If someone is better at their style than you are, then they're probably going to do pretty well against you, no matter what it is. But it's more the person, I think. But yeah, certainly some styles are better. Certainly if we talk about like Kung Fu is a good example. Okay, Kung Fu, it's kind of like, karate in some ways. It's a Chinese origin. And I got 2 really good videos on this, and we'll talk about that, what we were talking about a while ago, being able to hit something hard enough to break something. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. But, there's a lot of different Kung Fu styles, and there is no way I could put all those styles on a slide, But some of the notable ones would be the Shaolin. I think if you've probably heard that, Shaolin monks back in the 70s, there was a TV series called Kung Fu. That's what, and it was about.
There was a movie called Shaolin Soccer, I think.
Yeah.
It was like a soccer team of Shaolin monks or something. I can't remember.
Well, Shaolin is where that came from. Was Shaolin was it was a monastery, and the Chinese emperor, I guess, did not want peasants to have weapons and stuff like that. And this is my understanding of it. I could be a little off on this, but he viewed these monks as a threat, and he took away their weapons and stuff like that. So they learned how to do weaponless fighting. Now you see that form that guy's doing right there on the screen. That's Snake Creeps Down. That's what that is. That's very much like what Alita did, you know,
Yeah.
when she was doing her movements in front of the mirror, you know. Then there's Wing Chun. That's I've seen videos on YouTube where this Wing Chun master said that Rosa was using Wing Chun. Well, she was using some techniques that they use in Wing Chun. I don't recall Rosa saying that she was practicing Wing Chun. She mentioned a couple of styles, but she didn't mention Wing Chun. But a lot of the techniques are definitely similar to Wing Chun, as Wing Chun is similar to a lot of other, in some ways, some techniques to other karate or kung fu styles rather. Then there's one called Wushu, and where that came from is, gosh, it's been several thousand years ago, but there was a war between, I guess, this one Chinese province called Wu, and then there was another Chinese province called Chu, I think is what it was. And Chu had a very massive, very, very large army, much bigger than the Wu's army. And
not as big as the Alita army, though.
Not near as big as the Elite Army. No, no way. But
Definitely
what
not.
happened was, I think you probably have heard the art of war, and it was written by gosh, now I can't remember who wrote the Art of War, but he taught his troops hand-to-hand combat.
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu, that's right. Thanks, Lee. I appreciate that. And he had taught his troops. He trained, probably, who knows, 100 or something like that. And then they in turn turned around and trained more, hundreds more, And they learned this fighting technique that was similar to the Shaolin type thing. And although I think it predated Shaolin, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, that kind of made up a little bit of a difference between the two. And as a matter of fact, the army of Wu beat the army of Chu, even though the army of Chu outnumbered them like 3-1. So,
Wu versus Chu. Why are their names always like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
They always rhyme.
There's a really good documentary on the History Channel called The Art of War. If you go to the History Channel and do a search on that, and I believe it's on the History Channel. If not, you could order the DVD. I think they have a DVD on this, or they might even have a download. I'm not sure. And they very much speak to this this war between Wu and Chu. So, but anyway, it was a distinct fighting style itself. Then, of course, there are a lot of different styles that are divided up between the northern provinces and the southern provinces. And there were some differences, and there were some similarities and all that. Because, I mean, humans have got 4 limbs. How many ways can you hit and kick somebody? I mean, basically the way it is, And then, of course, there's Tai Chi. Now, Tai Chi is primarily a kind of, I guess you would say, like a set of exercises or forms that are meant to improve balance, to improve wellness, and that sort of thing. But you can use those techniques to fight. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about that. Some folks say, Tai Chi is not a true martial art. I disagree, but we can all agree to disagree sometimes, but it's yet another set of forms that have very distinct movements in it. And I think it does also have snake creeps down in it as well. I think snake creeps down and is in a lot of different kung fu forms, But where Panzer Kunst is similar to this is, of course, kicks and punches. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos on this. But it does have kicks and punches. I don't know if it's got a lot of grappling in it. I don't think it does. It might. Some styles may have some grappling in it. I'm not sure. But it's mostly kicks and punches, and self-defense is basically what it is. So let me play a couple of these videos. Now, this first one is of this Chinese girl that is going to just go through some movements, and you'll see how effective there. It looks, in a lot of ways, it looks kind of like karate in some ways.
I love these videos. There's so many of these like badass Asian women who just kick butt. They remind me of Alita. I can just hear Alita's hayas and
Yeah.
stuff as she's doing all this. Beautiful. I
So
love
there,
those videos.
so I think you got the idea there. You see, it kind of looks like karate a little bit, but the movements, you see how her arms are kind of they extend out more than they do in karate. So it tends to be more, drawn in. But you see how her arm was there when she kicked. It's different, slightly different, but it's still a kick. Just like in karate, and there's still punches. I think kung fu tends to be a little more flowing, at least from my perspective, and karate tends to be a little more power oriented. So yeah, Tai Chi forms. Yeah, that's right. That's a good point, Finn. In just about every kung fu, not just Tai Chi, but in a lot of kung fu forms, they stress what's called the yin and the yang. When your opponent is attacking you, they're the yin, and you kind of not recede or retreat like you're giving up, but you kind of, defending or something like that. And then you attack, and then you're yin and they're yang, So in other words, it's kind of like opposites. It's kind of what it is. That's a good point, Finn. Thanks for bringing that up,
Well, unfortunately, I have to get going.
All righty.
I'm waiting
Well,
for something.
glad you could join us there, Lee.
How many more fighting styles have we got?
Well,
left
let
to
me before you go, Lee. Why don't you watch this, because this is something I think you were interested in a while ago. Let me share this form of this Shaolin monk, what he's capable of doing. I mean, this is very Panzer Kunst-esque right here.
Okay, so I need to get ready for bed shortly as well.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Is he going to break it? Look at him go.
He's just slamming it. Yeah.
It looked like a pretty weak break.
Yeah. Now this is a rock. It takes him 2 or 3 times, but
Well, it is a stone, so
look at that. Whoa. How would you like him to hit you? That would not be fun, would it?
I accidentally punched the ground once. It was hard packed dirt on the driveway in my home in Alaska.
Yeah.
Did you leave a dent like Alita?
Oh, hell no. In fact, I bent a knuckle that is still bent to this day.
Oh no.
Gosh. All right. Well, okay, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. You guys
Yep,
take care.
You'll be welcome back next week.
All righty.
So,
what are we up to? Oh, we've got how many more
yeah.
slides have we got?
Well, just a couple more, maybe 3 more at most. I'm not going to go into these other styles, but we did see one. We saw Taekwondo. I mean, we saw that one guy doing Taekwondo, but there are others. Boxing, yes, is a martial art. I've heard people tell me boxing is not a martial art. Yeah, it is. You're learning to fight, so it's a martial art. That Krav Maga, that's kind of an ancient Greek thing almost, Then there's Muay Thai. There's something that, they have a lot of fights, kind of like boxing matches in Thailand. That's where it originated. Of course, Muay Thai is not limited to there. I mean, it's, there are bouts all over the world on that. Sabat, that's a French martial art, very similar to karate in a lot of ways. And of course, Taekwondo, we saw that. Now there's a version of that too, Taekwondo, called Mudok Khan Tang Sudo, and it's it's very much like Taekwondo as well. As a matter of fact, it might be derived from it, but I'm not sure. But Taekwondo is a Korean martial art. And then last but not least, which is more Panzer Kunst-esque, is going to be mixed martial arts. We saw that in Panzer Kunst, Alita was able to, she could throw punches, kicks, she could do, grappling. She could do flying side kicks, hip throws like judo and that kind of, even ground and pound. We saw her do that. That's very much mixed martial arts. So, but those are some other styles, and there are so many styles we cannot begin to get into.
There's like loads. There's multiple styles in like every Asian country. There's like 5 different styles.
Exactly. So I mean,
how do you get through them all? It's impossible.
There are literally thousands of styles. So it's just no way you can get to them all.
Impossible.
So that said, now just going to talk a little bit about this, because these are 2 fictitious martial arts styles, and of course that's Panzer Kunst and Space Karate. Space Karate. Now this came into fruition, I guess, during the Zot, and that's in the Last Order. And this is Space Karate is something that cyborgs also used. Okay, it's a combination in the manga. They I guess it's presented as like a combination of some of the best techniques and a lot of different kung fu and karate styles. And we saw this in the Zot when Alita fought Toji. Okay, now spoiler alert, guess who wins that fight?
Alita.
You betcha. But Toji is like 3 or 4 meters tall, and Alita is 4'11", and she beat him. So, and you can see what she's doing there. She's got some kind of flying kick going there. And he's very large opponent, and she was able to fight him and win. So I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to spoil too much. I guess I spoiled it already. Now, Alita wins always. Well, she kind of lost that one fight to Grewishka, but she avenged that, didn't she? So that's a good point, Finn. But anyway.
She won. She had a moral victory.
Yeah, she did.
Because she stabbed him in the eye and said, fuck your mercy.
That's exactly. Well, that's right. She gave him a present, didn't she?
And then she really won because her loved ones came to save her. And that's the victory right there. Whereas Grewishka had no one but Sheeran just
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm getting sad thinking about Sheeran.
So just to kind of, sum this up, Panzer Kunst, yes, a fictional martial art, but it does have a lot of techniques that are similar to kung fu, karate, jiu-jitsu, other styles. The thing to take away from this is that Panzer Kunst is specifically designed for cyborgs because they can execute techniques that humans, for the most part, cannot. Now, we did see that exception of that Shaolin monk breaking those bricks, and that stone broke that thing. But that's the exception right there. Most humans can't do that. Whereas a Künstler that's proficient in Panzer Kunst, they can do it. They can.
Meat boys can't, because we're made of meat. If we hit hard objects, our body's just going to go splat.
Exactly. That's right. So that brings us to the last question. Is Panzer Kunst the best? Well, I would say my take on it, as the techniques themselves, just the basis of them, are really not any better than a lot of other martial arts techniques. But the fact that a cyborg is doing this, and that those techniques are designed for a cyborg, that makes the martial art much more deadly, I think, than even the most deadly human martial art. So I mean, the Creek kind of thinks that yes, Panzer Kunst is a fictional martial art, but I think it is more deadly. I think it is better, just because it's who is executing it. And
for sure.
What is this Finn is saying here? She is one. Okay, all right, yep, yeah, that's right, Finn. And she only lost one time, and Grewishka got his comeuppance. So yeah, that's right.
Rest in peace, Big Brewery.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, did we miss anything?
I don't know. We went through loads of martial arts there. Pretty comprehensive, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, that was the intent. I kind of wish Angelus could have made it, because he could have added something, I think.
Yeah, he's got what is he, a black belt?
Yeah, I think he is a black belt, and he's practiced.
Damn.
He's practiced 2 or 3 martial arts. If I'd have got my brother on here, he could have been could have really helped too a lot, I think. But anyway, that's still pretty good. I think we did all right here. So, and as you can see there, we might have missed a few things because there's a lot of different martial arts. There's thousands of them. So yeah, we missed some, no doubt about it. But
I've just
at least
found a YouTube channel who's doing lots of Hot Toys Alita stuff. I'm very impressed.
Nice.
He's got her, or whoever it is, has got her doing the handstand splits. It's amazing.
Oh, who's doing this?
She looks great. It's some random account called The Authority. They do lots of bigger stuff, it looks like. But they're really small accounts.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll appreciate me supporting them.
Oh yeah. Anytime you guys see Alita content on there and you got a real small account, give it a like and subscribe to it. Because I mean that's going to help the algorithm identify more and more Alita content.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to have all of our subscribers. There's Angelus. Angelus,
wow.
you missed
Just
it.
as we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah, Angelus.
Yeah, I slept in.
What happened, Angelus? We went over we went over stuff, Angelus, you would have loved to sunk your teeth into.
I was dreaming of Alita, so I slept in.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We did pretty good, I think.
Well, I was dreaming of the flesh and blood copy of Alita, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Nothing too dodgy, I hope.
I blame Bloody's recent AI.
Don't tell me about your dirty dreams.
My best dreams? Okay. Now my best dreams.
Don't blame me for the AI smut. I'm not responsible for that. All mine is classy.
Yeah. So, did we miss anything? Well, Angelus, you can't answer that question. I might let me play these things for Angelus just so he can get an appreciation for them. So we went over this right here.
You can go over every single martial art again with.
Well,
I'll jump off and you can go over it again for another 2 hours.
Well, we'll just hit the slides again real fast. We won't.
Oh God, I'm actually going to do that. Maybe I should log off now then.
Yeah.
I need to go to bed.
All right, Bloody, you can go to bed. We'll let you.
Okay, Angelus, are you on the stream tomorrow? Are you hosting?
Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
By what?
By this.
By Alita. I will be on tomorrow.
Are you okay?
Are you the host tomorrow? Well, we're gonna hit that slide here in a little bit anyway. So
that's called a ground and pound when she beats her.
Yeah, we won't go over the whole thing here. We'll play this other one. So
wait, Angelus, did you say if you're on the stream tomorrow or not? Who's hosting?
I will be, but I can't remember who's hosting.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure that out when we get there.
I don't know if I need to prepare notes or something. I was going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a cool stream tomorrow. We're going to talk about that TSG.
We'll talk about the lawsuit. We'll go over the reasons that it's claiming that Disney didn't do anything with a load of Fox movies during the merger.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about potentially other things around that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Disney, they have a lot of agents within the media. Do you know what I mean? And it's very possible that there was a conscious effort to sabotage Alita and with bad reviews and things like that.
And bad articles. Adam White.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what we went over there. We even saw some videos on this.
We needed your expertise. You weren't here for us.
Yeah. Well, the Creek knows a little bit about martial arts, so we got through it. And of course, Angelus will tell you there are literally thousands of martial arts styles. We couldn't come near anywhere near covering all of them. Then we went over the Panzer Kunst versus Space Karate. We talked about that. And then, of course, we came to the conclusion, Vladi and I, because Channel couldn't get on because I guess she lost her internet and Lee had to go, that Panzer Kunst is the best. And I think
Of course.
Vladi thinks Panzer Kunst is the best because Alita's doing it. So,
Obviously.
yes. So anyway, that's where we are there, Angelus.
Well, Panzer Kunst. Oh, well, I'll extend the stream for another half an hour with the release. So
Yeah, that's right.
You guys can carry on if you want, but I'm going to head off.
All right, we'll see
No,
you
no.
there, Vladi.
Are you wrapping it up now anyway?
yeah.
All right, wrap it up then.
See ya. So you see the.
I was just going to let you wrap it up.
Oh, okay. So anyway, as you can see, Alita loves her Uncle Creek, and that's something that we didn't talk about. You see that plasma weapon she got? That's part of Panzer Kunst too. That's called her own style. No other Künstler does the plasma weapon. So that is also part of Panzer Kunst, that no earthly martial art can, martial artists can, self-generate plasma from their hands. That can't happen, And of course,
Just see the cutest Hot Toys Alita one from that channel.
yes,
I'll see that one.
and Lita loves her Uncle Creek. And then there's our queen right there, she's number one in the Creeks book in terms of being an actor. She's great. Boy, brought Alita to life, and the Creek is going to watch that Million Miles Away. I'm going to watch that thing, and I will be wowed by it, just like I was Alita.
You guys are so lucky.
Yes.
I mean, like Vladi mentioned in the tweet, the UK doesn't get a release. That obviously Australia doesn't get a release, and several
Well,
other
it's on
major
Prime
countries.
now.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Yeah. And there's, of course, shout out to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher. They brought Screwhead to life, and we want Screwhead to come back.
We need to get some more girls like that on the stream. Who else can we get?
Well, I'm not sure.
I wanted to get Yugi the Contortionist, but she didn't come on.
Well, it's going to be tough.
Selena and your.
Well, it's going to be tough to get any of these actors on the screen back on the streams now because of the strike. Because when I talked to Derek Mears, played Romo, he told me that that's pretty much a no-no now. They can't come on streams mainly because of that. So we have to wait till this strike, I guess, runs its course. Before we can even think about getting some of these folks back on a stream. So, but anyway, these three ladies brought their characters to life, and of course, as the Creek always says, they're great actresses. Or in Jesse's case, she's a stunt person, but all three of these don't hurt that they're pretty. That's for sure. But they're great actresses. That, not to take anything away from that, they are very accomplished. So, yeah, that's right. Ich liebe Alita, that's right there, Finn. And yep, we all love our
Alita.
Yeah, we all love our ladies here. We want them to come back in that damn sequel. Disney, you hear us? You hear us? Damn it, the Alita Army wants them back. Okay, Angelus, you want to talk about this now that we got you here?
Oh, muted. Yeah. So basically, tomorrow will be the TSG lawsuit. Vladi will be joining us. So if you want to hear his British voice again,
my hot takes.
Yeah, and his tirades.
Or just look up at Vladi777 on X and
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can see me tweet angrily every day.
50% of them is about the TSG lawsuit and how Disney royally screwed the pooch, and the other half is AI Alita. So.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Alita too. Well, there was a lot of Fox movies that they.
So
I
mean, I'm just here for Alita, but for sure there are lots of other ones that suffer.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, we're going to talk.
The chickens are coming home to roost, though. Bob Iger's in a world of trouble.
Well, hopefully that Disney will, green light our sequel and some.
I'm pretty sure it will, because Cameron earned so much money. It's how the corporate machine works.
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard to turn down somebody who owes you billions of dollars. I mean,
2.3 billion.
Well, yeah, well, in 2 movies alone, he's earned them over $5 billion. I mean, God Almighty, that's a lot of money.
It would be like the craziest thing ever if Disney said, "No, we're not going to let you do the Alita sequels." It'd be a stupid business decision, and it would just be completely retarded.
Yeah, it would be. Because I think if they market Alita real good next time, and of course we're going to be helping them because there was no Alita army when this thing came out. I think Alita's got a good chance to make $1 billion. That's my take on it. So anyway, we'll see though.
Remind me to put in the notes because marketing is definitely going to be an issue that we can even discuss tomorrow because marketing does play a good portion on the potential, let alone the actual incomes of movies. And now I know I rag on a lot about the Barbie movie, but I mean, no one can deny that marketing genius ploy sort of thing. And obviously when you compare it to Alita, she had what marketing? Passport 9 City.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
and
really.
even then, Alita fans outside of the US or hell,
We
even
got
outside
nothing.
of certain
We got nothing with the
states.
re-release either.
Yeah. It was all Alita Army, so
yeah, Finn.
Pat yourselves on the back for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, Finn. We're going to hold you to this. Now we want you on the stream next week. You don't have to stay on long if you don't want to. I mean, it's not scary here. We love everybody in the Alita Army. We want you on. So.
Yeah, and we don't lie when we say that.
Yeah.
Use Kriggy's stream as a springboard, a practice.
Yeah.
Hell, just even use it just to test out a new headset or something. So.
Yeah, I mean, we don't care. We don't care if you interrupt us or if you, or your mic is not good or your English is not good. We don't care. As long as you love Alita and you come on, we love it. That's the main thing for us. So. Okay, and we will welcome you on too, Finn. By the way, we don't put people.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come on if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he doesn't. You don't have to, but if you do, we're not going to put you down or anything like that because we want you on. We want you to have fun on the stream anyway. So, okay. So anyway, I guess join us tomorrow on Radio Chaos. It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to get to hear Vladdy rave on it. Okay, why is this image here? Well, the image is there because the Creek likes it and he's running the stream. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us are only here for our girl. And that just leaves one more thing. If there's any final thoughts from Vladdy or Angelus, do you got any final thoughts?
No, just Panzer Kunst kicks major butt.
Yes, it does. Yep, Panzer Kunst is #1. That's because our girl's doing it mainly, but that's okay. We love our girl. So
it's
anyway.
magic. It's magic space karate.
That's right.
To use even though karate is my forte, to use to take from a different style here. Yeah. Alita is the red belt of Panzer Kunst. At least for us, anyway.
Yeah, for some folks don't realize this. Red belts in a lot of styles are like 10th degree black belts or 8th degree. In Taekwondo, a red belt's like a brown belt. But in just about every other karate style, I know it's opposite. Red belt is the top of the pinnacle, and that's what Alita is. Alita was actually a high warrior. We finally came to realize. So she's not a red belt, but she's maybe 3 down. I guess the licensed high warrior was
Alita is a purple belt.
There is a purple belt.
Well, now in Kenpo karate, purple belt's the second belt, so I don't know. She's better.
Should be top belt.
A white belt's the first belt, and purple belt's the next one up. So Alita's better than that. So.
That sounds like white supremacy to me.
Yeah, it does actually.
Purple berserker supremacy.
Yeah.
Get purple
Right.
above that.
One thing we wanted to know, Angelus, what degree are you black? You're a black belt, right?
Yes, Shodan Ho. Just basically, I'm the whitest black belt.
Oh, so you're a first degree black belt then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. Well, I guess technically I still am, although I don't practice. So, but
No,
anyway,
it's like riding a bike or being part of the elite army. There's never no such thing as a former hunter warrior.
yeah, that's right. Well, I know I can't throw a head high roundhouse anymore. I can't do that. But yeah, I'm still good, I guess, fairly good anyway. Anyway, that brings us to our call to action, I guess. And unless you guys got one more thing you want to say, we're going to do the call to action. Anything
Berserker
else?
supremacy.
You got it, Flotty?
No.
Okay, let's do it on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Film those sequels,
baby. All right, we'll see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
See you
and
tomorrow,
we'll
guys.
see you next week on the Alita Livestream. Ta-ta.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.